Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliate and supported ministries and or nonprofits. So now, without any further ado, it's a man with a plan to put gold in your hand, Tony Hammock.
Thank you, Matt, for that wonderful introduction. And you forgot who my guest is.
I figured I'd let you introduce him.
Okay.
Asa.
Appreciate it.
All right, sorry. Asa.
There you go. Thank you. The classic.
So,
Good
the
morning.
cat's out of the bag. We've got Asa Scott with us this morning, and all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we are thrilled for this opportunity for him to bestow on us all of his intelligence and wisdom as far as gold and silver and Bitcoin and alternative assets. We've got a crammed full power-packed show for you this morning, and we're glad you're tuning in and everything. It looks like it's going to be a great day out there. I think it's going to be in the low 50s by mid-afternoon and sunny, so enjoy it while you can. So, Asa, what brings you to Springfield?
Well, a couple of things. One, the free food. So, no. So I've been back in town for the holidays, so we've had a great holiday break. I'm actually returning to Tulsa tomorrow, so that's kind of sad. But I came for more than just to bestow my wisdom of gold and silver, but also to wish my parents a Merry Christmas. Perhaps it might be important. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. So, well, I said we had a full show, so we've got a person up in Montana we're going to be calling here at 9:15. So let me do some housekeeping real quick, and then we'll bring Diane on. The stewardship course is always my favorite because it keeps with the theme of our show, being on the Acts Media Broadcast Network. And today's devotional is God's opinion of debt. The Bible leaves no doubt about God's opinion regarding debt. Owe nothing to anyone except to love one another, for he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower becomes the lender's slave. In our world today, many people have ignored these truths. In the United States alone, hundreds of thousands of people are on the brink of bankruptcy. Millions of people are not only living paycheck to paycheck, they're within 60 days of being homeless or in dire financial need. And America's consumer debt has reached an all-time high of, now when this was written it was 3.8 trillion. I think now it's more something like 5 or 6 trillion. We've bought into a buy now, pay later philosophy that's been sold to us for decades by advertisers, tempting us to believe we must have the product they're selling in order to project an image of wealth. In short, we've swallowed a lie and we're gagging on it. God doesn't want his people to be in debt. The only thing we're to owe others is our love, which we're to give freely in intangible forms. We're to be givers, not borrowers. The price of indebtedness can be high. In ancient times, the children of Israel lost much of their land and possessions because of debt, and some sold themselves or their children into slavery in order to pay their debts. We may protest, how horrible, how could they sell their children to work off debt? Yet that's exactly what so many of us are doing today, strapping our children with mountains of debt long after we're gone. Additionally, God doesn't want his people in debt because it has a negative impact on our spiritual lives. Some of the reasons God is opposed to debt can be discovered when we take a look at the reasons people get into debt in the first place. Many get into debt because they buy things they can't afford, they make unwise investments, they're careless in their purchases, they lack forethought for the future, they lose a job or miss work owing to illness, injury, or laziness. We must remember that it's far easier to stay out of debt than to get out of debt. Make a decision to follow God's plan in your finances and guard against falling prey to the alluring messages that tempt you to borrow, buy beyond your means, or spend your money unwisely. And a lot of that information came from the U.S. Federal Reserve from May of 18. What do you think of that lesson?
I think that's some good wisdom, and I've always liked that stewardship course. But it is notable, kind of gets around the philosophy of taking care of what's going to happen after you're gone. Is that it's quite important that, I guess, as part of your spiritual journey, you're taking care of all your earthly ties. It's always been kind of like my philosophy that you should be setting yourself up, I suppose, for the worst possible outcome at all times. And a lot of times, with things such as gold and silver, that means making wise investments that will, I suppose, outlast any kind of, dollar investments, any kind of fiat currency. That's kind of always been my tie to gold and silver, is just that, importance that they're those withstanding currencies that if the worst possible outcome does happen, you have something to fall back on. And I think that stewardship lesson really links to the fact that, obviously your time on this earth is temporary, and you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up and your family and the people that come after you for success, and not, have to be held back or restrained by some decision that you made while you were alive.
Well, and I think the important part about that lesson was the, part about leaving this huge amount of debt for future generations, because, there's just certain ways that it can be dealt with. Higher taxes, which would be awful. Some kind of a reset that I can't think will be favorable. There's not anything good that can come from right now, and as a country, we're just about $28 trillion in debt, and that's before we add in the entitlement programs, which take us up over $100 trillion, I believe. And I think the whole world, it's not just us. I mean, every country on the globe has some issues going on with debt, and some have already, really gone over the edge, like Venezuela and Argentina and Greece and a few others that, have had to resort to things, which one of the things that some of them have resorted to is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a better store of value than the currency, the fiat currency, as Asa says, that their country issues, because it's pretty much worthless. And speaking of Bitcoin, as we speak, Bitcoin is at $34,371. And just as I've said now for a while on Bitcoin, we had quite a week last week. At one point, Bitcoin got up over $40,000 a coin. And, everybody was jumping around all excited and stuff, me included. And then over the weekend, it went down, all the way down to 30,000, which, if you think about it, is about a 25% drop in 24 hours. So, as I've always said, this is not for widows and orphans. It's not for the faint of heart. And any money that you put into Bitcoin, I will tell you this, one of the reasons the price has been going up has been because a lot of the institutions are now starting to get involved with Bitcoin. And, we've always talked about it having a finite supply of 21. There'll never be more than 21 million Bitcoin ever issued. And I think right now we're at about 18 and a half. So we've got that going there as far as the activity over the weekend. That was quite interesting. As long as I'm on this page real quick, nickel's $8, aluminum's 91 cents, zinc's $1.25, and lead's 91.
But wait a minute, what about uranium?
Uranium is $30.50. Oh, I misspoke. It's $30.05 a pound.
Excellent.
And did I tell you about the guys in suits that came looking for you when you were in Tulsa last?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. They came to the door and they said they were from the government and they were here to help.
They have SWAT written on the back of their uniforms.
No, that was the guys back in the truck. You could see their
very good,
little blazers on. So let me see. Crude oil. A barrel of crude oil is $52.84, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average as of 9/11 is up 56.84 points for 31,097. And so, with everything that's going on in our world, I think you can expect more volatility. So, we have a lady that we are going to be calling here in 3 minutes, and we kind of wanted to give a little bit of a lead-in. Asa, what did I tell you in the car coming over?
Well, you said that she is a fantastic part of Seven Kim Metals, which is, of course, something we've talked quite a bit about on the show.
Yep.
You said she was like your, linked to you, in some way or another. But basically, runs this very helpful Facebook group that she invites, members of 7K Metals, potential interest interested individuals of 7K Metals, all to come and check out this Facebook group she has, where she gives a lot of fantastic information about it. Kind of does like Facebook Live groups, really leads people into what 7K Metals is and helps them start their financial journey through 7K Metals essentially. But also has some very, neat tools for people that are interested in using 7K Metals as, a side gig or perhaps, their main stream of income.
Well, and that's just it, is that, with the state of the economy and so many people out of work and stuff, what Diane has done is she has truly started a movement. Now, she's up in Montana, and so because of that, she has started this with social media. So, and I sit in on a presentation Sunday afternoon and was blown away with how much effort and everything that she's put into this. So if you are out of work, or if you are looking for a side gig, something to do to bring in some extra dollars and stuff, these next 15 or 20 minutes are for you, because that's really what Diane's going to be focusing on and stuff. I mean, Asa and I can, and when we're done, talk about all the benefits of gold and silver in your portfolio and so forth and so on. But she is really, really, really passionate about this movement and stuff. So I'll give her a call here in about 30 seconds, and we'll get her on the phone and have her share with us how this program is working and what you can do to get involved and so forth like that. So, and then when we're done with Diane, we'll take and let Mr. Asa share with us all his wisdom on the world.
But it'll come with a lot of questions, but I do have a couple topics I'd like to talk about.
He's really good at wiffle ball these days, so maybe he can,
We actually tied in wiffle ball yesterday, and then the time before that, Tony won, so I don't know. It's becoming in question now, my wiffle ball skill.
We have to wait for these days that are over 50 so we don't freeze. But anyway, so let me do this. Let me give her a call, see if this system is working. Hopefully so. And where is she? There she is. Now, where she's at, I think it's 8:15, so she's Mountain Standard Time.
Good morning.
Good morning, Diane. Tony Hammock.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Well, first off, here in the studio with me on the show is my son, Asa.
Good morning, Diane.
Good morning.
And
hopefully it's okay if I intrude.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
say no.
actually, Asa is a member of 7K also.
That's right.
And I love your name, Asa. That's awesome.
Well, thank
How
you
do you
very
spell
much. ASA.
Nice.
And we did a little intro before we called you, and we mentioned we've got about 15, 20 minutes, and I told everybody that was tuned in that you've got this passion for this, I'm calling it a movement, this new movement you've got started up there in Montana for helping folks that might need to, find an additional source of income.
Okay.
Do you want to share with us exactly, what brought you to this or how it works so that we can hopefully have some folks listening that might want to get included?
Absolutely. And are you ready for me to start that now, or is there another segment that we start?
No. All yours.
We're on now. All right, super. Well, first off, let me just kind of give you all a little background. My name is Diane Graber. I live in Montana. I've been married to a wonderful guy for 41 years now. We have
Yay.
3 incredible boys. And quite honestly, the reason I got involved in the space of direct sales, network marketing, relationship marketing, whatever people are calling it today, is because I wanted to contribute to the household income, but at the same time, I wanted to be that stay-at-home mom that got to raise my own children. And I didn't want daycare raising my kids. I wanted my influence on my children instead of some strangers. So that tended to be an absolute blessing in our lives because I did get to raise my own children. I was able to be at all the baseball games, all the wrestling matches, all the basketball games. Everything my kids did, I was able to be there front and center. And, a lot of parents don't have that luxury today.
Right.
And not only that, I was able to create a six-figure income in the space for lots of years. I quite honestly had retired from the industry and taken the income that we had created, and we created some traditional business and so forth, and moving along just fine in life. And my kids were adults now, and Brad and I were into a different phase of life and so forth. And I got a call about a company that was starting up in Idaho Falls. It was based around gold and silver. It was going to be in the direct sales space. And quite honestly, my first indication was, I'm just not sure I want to do this again. And my husband heard gold and silver and barked up in the background and said, honey, I think you need to look into that one a little closely. So needless to say, I not only looked into it closely, I got on the phone with the owner, one of the co-founders of the company. I asked him all the regulatory questions that I understand in the space because I've been involved for so long, actually 28 years now. And then at the same time, I was asking him some questions that, revolved around the integrity of these gentlemen that had created the company, but also at the same time, I wanted to know that I could help people. If I was going to jump into this arena again, and I'm that all-in type person. If I do something, I'm 100% involved. So I wanted to know if I was going to be 110% involved, that I could help some people. And what he was telling me on the onset, and this was Mr. Josh Anderson, one of our co-founders,
Oh, yeah.
was two really important things that just struck a chord with me that made it so I could not say no. The one thing was, he said, we're going to change the space of direct marketing. We're going to put a hiccup in this industry because we're tired of watching just 2% of the people that join these types of businesses ever make money. We're going to make it so that the average person can make above average income. Now, needless to say, none of us that are involved in this are average people. We are some extraordinary people that are involved in this group. But they're making some really serious above average income. Like, we literally have six-figure income earners in our team, and it's not just me. And that part just really intrigued me. And he explained to me, the dynamics and the logistics of how that could happen, and it sounded legitimate. And then the second thing that he said to me that really made me stop and think was, we're going to put gold and silver, precious metals, in the households of folks that never thought that they could possess them ever. We're going to change how people purchase and interact with gold and silver, and we are on a mission to change the world. And I couldn't not buy into that. Not knowing a whole lot about gold and silver at the time, other than the fact that my husband had purchased some here and there, I was not educated enough to know how important it is to have precious metals in our portfolio. I wasn't educated enough to understand why everyone should have them. I didn't really understand the Federal Reserve. I didn't understand the decline of our purchasing power of the dollar. And the educational piece that came along with my membership with 7K Metals was invaluable. One of the things that Josh did early on when we were putting the company together, and by the way, I came on board with the company when they were 2 weeks old. And needless to say, I'm smart enough to know you don't get involved with a startup company in direct sales because most of them last about 17 months. That's usually their tipping point where they start to get momentum, and they don't have the funding to facilitate it. And quite honestly, the only reason that I knew that this would be okay is because the person that was financially backing it was a gentleman by the name of Roger Ball. And Roger Ball is quite solvent financially. He actually created another network marketing company that created billions of dollars in revenue annually. And he was really set that this was going to be his legacy. He didn't want his legacy to be the company that he created the products and the model and so forth with years ago. He wants this one to be his legacy, that he's putting gold and silver because he knows how important it is in people's homes. And so, needless to say, once we got started on this whole thing, I needed to go find the educational part of this. Well, one of the things that Josh did was he created what was called a buyer certification program that comes with our membership. That buyer certification program, in my opinion, is worth the price of our membership all day, every day. It is worthy education that anybody should understand about how to interact with precious metals. how to buy them, for what reason you would be buying, because there are a lot of reasons that you might want to possess gold and silver. Maybe you want it as a hedge against inflation. Maybe you think our dollar is going to crash and you want something that's real money, sound money in your hand instead of paper dollars. Maybe you're just looking to diversify your portfolio. We were heavy in our portfolio into real estate. We've since liquidated some of the real estate, turned it into sound money assets that we know will always have value. So I learned a whole lot in that educational piece that he put together, but more importantly, I've taken other people across the country that really did not have this knowledge or understanding as to why to own precious metals and helped educate them as well. But more important than that, we put precious metals in the hands of folks that have never had them before, that never thought they could have them because they always thought this was just strictly a rich man's game. The only people that have gold and silver are the very wealthy or the very rich, and we've actually made that happen. So Josh has made good on everything that he promised me when I had my first conversation with him. I knew that this guy was a man of integrity. I knew the backstory on Roger Ball and what kind of an incredible individual he is and how caring and how he's just given back so much in the world. And so I felt really comfortable about jumping on board and sharing this with as many people as I could on the onset. And now, needless to say, we have thousands of people in our organization, and it's been 4 years now. We have thousands of people that make above average income. We have people that this has just been a lifestyle transformation for them. And, you know, you happen to know one of them, Pastor Sharon, that,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we've watched that gal. You know, she came to us at 72 years young and needed this to work for her in a big, big way because she was looking at being a greeter at Walmart in the following week. And quite honestly, she'd never done anything like this before. And I said, geez, Sharon, if you would just be teachable and coachable for a hot second, I know how to work this type of a business, and I know that I can help you create some income here. And she locked arms with us, and needless to say, she's now knocking off bucket list items. She's bought a motorhome. She travels back and forth from Montana to Texas to where her kids are now. You know, she's had life-changing income come into effect, and we've watched a transformation of this woman not worry about the basics any longer.
Well, let's
and,
do the.
you know,
Hey,
be able to
Diane.
give back. Pardon me?
I said, let's do this. One, for those of you that are tuning in, I mean, I did say that she was passionate, right? And and hopefully you can already tell that I was right on target with that. And I guess, you know, one, I mean, we can do this in a couple of parts over different shows and stuff. But, you know, what I got excited about the other day, I can't remember what day it was last week, Thursday or Friday, that Pastor Sharon, you know, told me about this new program of yours was, I was just curious if there was a way you could kind of share with everybody the benefit of this, you know, new strategy you have as far as getting the word out and educating folks and stuff like that. Is that okay to kind of jump ahead to that?
You bet. Okay, so, you know, again, I'm kind of that old school person. I've been involved in the industry for 28 years, and I've done things the old school way. But we had to finally step into how people are doing business today and how people want to be presented business opportunities like ours. And so I, you know, by the grace of God, a video that my husband was watching to get new snow tracks for our track machine. All of a sudden, a young gal popped up in the corner, and it was an advertising video. And it was advertising a method as to how to build a direct sales company, an organization. And quite honestly, this was something that I had been praying for, thinking about, and researching, and she just popped up on a window on a YouTube video, and it was just like way off base, way off center. And my husband looked at me and he said, I think you need to come look at this. Well, needless to say, I not only looked at it, but I just got totally involved with this gal because she has a method by which people today can actually feel comfortable and research us and join us and get involved with us, and we call it an ATM method. And basically what it is, we're turning our cell phones into ATM machines. And ATM actually stands for Add, Tag, and Message, and it is a very simple process that our members now just add people to a particular Facebook group that's a private group that is really our community of people, and then they tag them in a video that I created to just explain the basics of what we do and why we're doing it, and then they message back and forth. And quite honestly, I released it on Sunday to our leaders. I released it last night to the next level of their leaders, and this thing has taken off like a rocket ship. And what we're seeing is that, quite honestly, people do not today want to be pitched anything, okay? They don't want to be sold anything. They certainly don't want to go to a meeting. Quite honestly, I think the word meeting and root canal fall in the same category. And so they don't want to come to a meeting. They don't want to be pressured by a group of people. They don't want to commit to being on a Zoom at 7 p.m. on a certain day. They want to research this and get the information so they can make an informed decision on their own, in their own time, in their own space, and in their own frame of mind. And they do that with this ATM method because you're just adding them and tagging them to a video that they can take a look at whenever they choose to. And it's working. And quite honestly, it's eliminating the resistance, number one, on that prospects part because, again, they don't want to go to meetings, they don't want to go on a Zoom at a certain time, but it also is eliminating the resistance for brand new people in our team that maybe don't know what to say, don't feel confident in going out and saying it, so they just kind of do nothing. Well, it's going to eliminate that as well because we're taking these brand new people, streamlining them into a system, and we all know systems work on everything. So we're streamlining them into this system, and the system is actually working. We're seeing people being added to the group and tagged into these videos, and we've got great testimonials and so forth. And basically the page that I built out, the private group page, it shows you who our community is. It shows you that you want to be around these like-minded people. You want to go do the fun things that we've been afforded the pleasure of doing because of how we create our income and how our lives are powered with gold and silver now. It's got great testimonials on there. It's got great motivational things on there. It's just a place that is very different than all of the other stuff that's coming at you on the Internet today with all the political uproar and everything going on around you. This is an incredible place that's got just nothing but uplifting and good-hearted stories and people. And one of the things that everyone in our space needs in order to be successful in the space of direct sales is they need that little thing called social proof. And this page that we created gives everyone that social proof that they're looking for, that there are real people that have these real stories, that it's really working for them, they really have created income, their lifestyles really have changed, so why not you, right? And that's what we've done, and quite honestly, this was teaching an old dog like me some new tricks to do this very differently than I've ever done before, and I am in awe as to how it's working already.
Well, I've got to ask Diane, how many people are in the group now?
There was 147 when I first looked this morning.
Wow.
And we went from 0 to 147 from Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon to this morning, we're at 147 members.
That's amazing.
And I know that this will climb into the thousands. We're just now starting to get people the understanding as to how they actually work the system. And here it goes. It's starting to take off.
And for those of you that are intrigued with this, you can always reach me at 417-755-0700 or an email at tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. And then ASA is 417-343-1779. Mm-hmm. And either one of us would be happy to help you, get to the group and all that kind of good stuff. But
absolutely. Phone these guys and tell them you want invited to the group, and they will put an invitation to you. And we will accept you right away when we see it comes from either one of those gentlemen.
Well, and the nice thing is also let's say you did that, and then after a day or two, it's not for you. I mean, you can just opt out. I mean, it's not intrusive at all. And I got to tell you, from the little bit I've seen last week and then on Sunday, I mean, the information, the presentation. Diane is just, fantastic as far as the professionalism and integrity and stuff. So, what else can you share? What else can you share with us as far as things that you're doing? Because I was impressed that you kind of took the initiative on this whole project.
Well, believe me, I was in awe a couple of times that I took the lead on this project as well. I kind of went through a learning curve that was like, wow. But I did. We're all supposed to keep learning and growing, and
Yeah.
I had a growth spurt that kind of matched my 6-year-old grandson's in the last year. It was pretty incredible. One of the things that I do want to touch on while we have the time, Tony, is the piece that just came into effect in the last quarter of 2019 for 7K Metals, and that is our Sound Money wallet.
Oh, yeah.
This is a phenomenal addition to our whole platform. The Sound Money wallet is basically a digital wallet that is backed by physical gold and silver. And I know that sounds kind of foreign and different because it is different. Nothing like this has ever happened anywhere in the world. Now, there are digital wallets for all of your finances, but none of them are ever backed by physical gold and silver. So what 7K did was they created this really incredible software. They actually put together a vault in Idaho Falls that has military-grade security. It's got some really incredible tracking information for when you put coins in and out of it. Any bullion in and out of it, it's all digitally tracked and video tracked and so forth. And here's the thing. You get, with your 7K Metals membership, a Sound Money wallet. Now, this wallet, again, it's digital, but you have the opportunity to fund that wallet with cash. Now, you can pull it from your bank account because you can attach your bank account right to it, or you can use commissions that you've earned from 7K, and that comes in, obviously, in the form of cash. But once that cash is in your digital wallet, you have the option with a push of a button to take, let's say, out of a $500 commission check, let's say this week you want to take $150 of it, and you want to change that asset from cash to silver. With the touch of a button in your back office, you can say, I'd like to take $150 cash, and I'd like to transfer it into silver. They literally take $150 worth of silver, so fractional denominations, no problem, and it is moved and earmarked in the aggregated piece of the vault for you. Now, what you can do is you can sit in that Sound Money wallet and watch that silver go up and down with the spot price of silver. And let's say it gets to, $35, $40 an ounce, and you'd like to cash out what's over and above the $150 that you started with. You simply go into the Sound Money wallet, click on a button that says Transfer Silver to Cash, and pick the amount that you want to transfer out. Transfer that money back into a cash asset, and then you can have it sent right straight to your bank account if you choose to. Now, this is a way for all of us to literally work the markets, to figure out where we should put our money and what asset classes we want it in. And here's the other benefit to it. There's platforms out there, PayPal, Venmo, those types of things where you can transfer money from one person to another. You literally can transfer money from one member in 7K to another member just by saying transfer. We can transfer it in silver, gold, or cash to another member with zero fees attached to it.
Remember that,
so
Asa.
If you're transferring these assets
When you
around,
want
they
some
are
gold.
not charging us fees for this. We just watched something really incredible happen with one of our members down in Las Vegas. She lost her husband a few weeks ago to the COVID virus. And we watched our members rally around this woman. They found her Sound Money wallet user ID, which is your user ID with 7K, and they poured in silver, cash, gold to this woman's account so that she could take care of all the necessities that she needed to while she was grieving. I have never seen an outpouring of more love and understanding and just really great people rallying around. That was the definition of people helping people in a level I've never seen before in my career. And to be able to do it at the push of a button with no fees attached to it, and it instantly showed up in her Sound Money wallet, she was seeing money coming in and silver and gold coming in from people that didn't even know her. The word got out in this community, and they rallied around this gal instantly.
Wow.
And the transfer is instant. It was really incredible to watch, Tony.
I got to tell you this. This is just a little side note here. Last year, remember the wallet was introduced June 1st, I think. And so I was really excited about it, and I did all this stuff. You know, I got my bank account attached to it, and I transferred, you know, a small amount. It was like $100. And Asa was in my office when I did. I said, hey, come watch this, you know. So I transfer $100 in, and now I've got it in cash, and I want to buy silver. Or no, I bought gold. I take it back. It was gold. So I do the little, you know, take it from the cash to the gold, and it happened instantaneously. And then we started talking about something else, and a few minutes later, Asa looked at the screen. He says, hey, you've already made money. And it was priced in real time. Instead of 100, it was like, you know, like
$108.
Yeah.
Any more sense than yet. It's actually pretty fun just watching the Sound Money wallet do its thing. Just
So
fluctuate.
I had to share that since you brought that up, Diane.
It is pretty incredible to watch it. And that's kind of become my husband Brad's new addiction. He gets into Sound Money Wallet and says, hey, we're doing okay. Look at the graph today. And they actually give you a pie chart so you can see what assets you have in cash, gold, and silver, so you can make sure that your portfolio looks like you want it to look. So each and every week, we have been literally taking a portion of our commissions and putting it into silver. I believe from everything we've heard from The Economist and from all of the very educated people in the world that there is going to be a really big run on silver.
Yeah.
So we've been dumping a lot of money into silver lately. Now, here's the other thing. You can keep the money at the vault in Idaho Falls for as long as you want to, up to $25,000, okay? But if you decide you want to physically have that and put it in your safe at your home, you simply push a button that says, I would like to have my silver in this amount sent to my home, and all you pay to have that moved from the vault to you is the insurance to actually insure it to get it to you and the postage to get it to you.
Well, you know,
No
one.
other fees are involved.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is.
So we've actually, you know, tested it out just to make sure that it would work and the, you know, the timeline on it and so forth. From Idaho Falls to Montana, it was a 2-day turnaround. We pushed the button, and in 2 days, we had some of the silver that we had in the vault literally in our possession. We put it in our safe. That is how the Sound Money wallet works.
Well, you know,
and
one.
I got to tell you, there is no one else on the planet that has a Sound Money wallet, that has a digital wallet like that, that's literally backed by physical gold and silver. And keep in mind, too, that all of the silver and gold is insured by Lloyd's of London in that vault. It's a private vault that cannot be confiscated like a vault at a regular savings and loan. So you're very secure in having your assets there versus having them send them to you and you take them to a safe deposit box at your savings and loan. That's a whole other story. But,
Yeah.
But that's a great asset to our program that, you know, a lot of people are looking at this going, wow, everyone needs a Sound Money wallet. I now believe everyone needs a Sound Money wallet. To transfer assets back and forth from one class to another at the push of a button makes a whole lot of sense if you understand the world of gold and silver and when to buy.
Well, you know,
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, the gold and silver that Diane's talking about is actually held in gold eagles, American gold eagles, and American silver eagles. Is that correct, Diane?
That is correct, and that's a big point that should be made too.
Oh yeah, well, and what I've noticed is you know, on these days where there is some volatility, it seems like because it's based on the eagles, you know, like gold can go down. Like the other day, it went down $60, I think, an ounce or something like that. And you know, I kind of thought, oh my gosh, my Sound Money wallet balance is going to be, you know, much lower. And I looked into it and stuff. I mean, it was down a little bit, but I think the eagles are not as volatile as just, you know, like gold futures or straight gold and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm just seeing things,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty
and
neat.
think about this, Tony. The eagles are still in the classification of a non-reportable item to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if they send you $12,000, $15,000. There is no paperwork that has to be attached to that.
I know, and you know, the first time I heard that, I thought, oh, there's nobody in my world that would really care about that. And I kid you not, the first guy I talked to in Kansas, he was like, oh my God, tell me more.
Yeah, it does make a big difference. And again, that's one of the pieces that I had no idea, and it's really a very important point when you are investing in gold and silver, what you should be investing in. Should you be investing in eagles? Should you be investing in bullion? Should you be investing in numismatic coins? If you watch that buyer certification program, it'll explain all that to you. And the fact that these eagles, these American eagles, gold and silver, were never put on the reportable items list, it's kind of a little hiccup with the federal government, another one. And it really says a lot about the research that has gone into our program in general so that we can help you understand there are ways that you can safeguard and keep more of the earnings that you've actually created.
Oh, yeah, that certification program is phenomenal. In fact,
It is.
the 7K membership, there's a couple of different levels, but the entry level, it's kind of like a Sam's or a Costco type thing. It's $199, and that's for a year, and you get dealer direct pricing. But I think the buyer certification program is worth the price of admission. I mean, it is really nicely done.
Now,
yeah.
here's another piece, though, Tony, that I think we should talk about. After the whole COVID thing started and lots of companies were closing, people were losing jobs left and right and income, one of the things that the owners of our company realized is as these people were losing jobs, they were losing their health care plans. And all of a sudden there was 30 million Americans that were without health insurance, no health care plans at all. So Roger asked that the guys at the corporate team find a solution for that, figure something out so that we can help our people. So they created a health care plan that's a PPO plan that's not only individual plans but family plans that we can have really good health coverage again. So those people that had lost their health coverage, we had a solution for them that was not only affordable, but it was a PPO plan that a lot of people already had, so you could go to the same doctors you were going to and so forth. No pre-existing condition issues. You did have pre-existing conditions. It didn't matter in this particular program. And they've connected us with an incredible guy from, it's called Freedom Plans, and they connected us with a guy from this SBA Freedom Plans that has taken care of all of our people. Now, we're not licensed to sell insurance, so basically what we do is we just put people through the system, get them a quote so they can see what it would be like to maybe not just insure themselves or their family, but if they own businesses. I have a gal in Wyoming that owns a home health care business. One of the biggest problems that she had in keeping girls working for her is she didn't have health insurance to offer them. Well, she has taken on this health care plan through 7K, through her membership, and she's now able to insure her girls that work for her so they're more apt to stay with her, which is a big benefit for her other traditional business.
Oh, sure.
And we've seen a lot of people come on board with this health care plan, and the gentleman that they have connected us to that takes care of the 7K people, incredible guy, his name's Frank. But Frank, what he does is when you put someone in the system, he's the one that calls that company or that individual and actually walks them through what the policy looks like, what it covers, and how it works, basically. And then he's the one who actually sells the plan, sells the insurance. And we've got somebody licensed, a licensed insurance agent that's actually doing that. So it keeps everything legitimate and above board. And all we're doing is just feeding that pipeline and helping people realize there's another way that you can have your family insured and taken care of on a health plan membership that comes along with the benefits of our 7K membership. So when we talk about the benefits, our benefits just keep growing, and they just keep looking for other ways to enhance our lives, to take care of the necessities, and to help us keep as much money in our pockets as we possibly can. And I respect that and think that's just so incredible that that's what their motivation is, and that's why they're doing the things that they're doing lately. And it's been a big deal for a lot of people to be able to know that their family has a health care plan again when they didn't.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad you covered that. But unfortunately, we are out of time, Diane. And, like I said somewhere earlier in the show, maybe we're going to have you on here again soon because, your message is just so well said and full of information that I think some of our viewers are looking for, especially on like the addition of the healthcare plan in there and so forth. But thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know you had to, start a little earlier because you're in Mountain Time. And
You're a little early, Tony.
yeah, yeah. But I am grateful, and I'll holler at you later and everything. But thank you so much for tuning in today and helping us out.
Yes, thank you for joining
You are
us.
very welcome. Everyone have an incredibly blessed day, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to these folks today, Tony.
Okay, thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that is Diane Graber, and I got to tell you, she is full of energy, and I mean, oh my gosh. So I like getting her on. We actually had her on last year and had a little bit more time and stuff. And if you weren't viewing last year, obviously you weren't exposed to that. But I'll try and see if I can get her on again in the future because she is very, very good at what she does. And if you want information on that group, by all means, give me a holler, 417-755-0700 or Tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. And we can get you invited to the Facebook group so you can kind of check that out. And then, of course, Mr. Asa is 417-343-1779.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of Asa, he didn't get to say much over there while Diane was on the phone. Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, certainly. So there was something that I kept seeing as I was keeping up with gold and silver that intrigued me. And that's that there was a lot of people that had differing opinions on how silver and gold would do. So when I first got into this, I always kind of assumed that silver and gold were kind of at the same caliber. Like they're both sun money. You invest in them for the same reasons in my eyes. But there's certain scholars that think that silver is going to just like skyrocket past gold and really outperform gold moving into 2021. Some give some pushback back on that. But I guess I was just really wondering what makes, I suppose, silver. What decisions you should be making as far as investing in silver rather than gold. And I know we talked about this in a previous show that a lot of the logic is that most people think that gold tends to be more restrictive to change than silver does. So gold is more of your long-term investment, silver is more of your short-term investment. Even though both of them give the same benefit of they'll always have value, they'll always be sound money. But I was wondering what your take on that was, like what decisions you should be making as far as how much of your portfolio you should be putting in gold versus how much you should be putting in silver.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, the thing with silver is that a lot of the demand for silver is for industrial uses. As far as going into electronics and automobiles and just all kinds of stuff. And so it's not just for an investment. And if anything, that kind of makes it more intriguing because, I mean, sometimes that's consumed. I mean, not everybody goes and takes their cell phone and takes it apart to salvage the silver that's in there because it's a very small part. But that is a huge contributor to the demand for silver and stuff. As far as the percentages, I've got one gentleman that kind of thinks that 75% of your portfolio should be in gold and 25% should be in silver. And if you're a little bit more aggressive, then increase the allocation of silver and so forth. I mean, I've got some people, that are 100% in silver just for those reasons. I mean, there's like last year. Let's do this. Last year, 2020, gold was up. I want to say 23.5%, 24% for the year. Silver was up 43%. So you can see that. It's a little different. I mean, for one thing, silver's about $25 an ounce and gold's, almost $1,900 an ounce. So, it's just going to be a little bit more volatile and so forth. So, but with that said, now we're out of time. We were able to say goodbye to Diane, and there were several things we didn't get to on today's show. So we'll cover them next week, and unfortunately, Mr. Asa will not be with us.
Sadly.
Only in spirit, because, are always thinking of him and
I'm
stuff.
honored. Anytime you think of the cost of uranium, just know that I'll be listening. So
Yes.
I'm there.
And,
I really do need to pipe down before I actually get put on a list somewhere.
yeah, well, you're already on the list.
Yeah.
After last summer, you're right there at the top of the list. But we appreciate you tuning in, and I know that Matt's not in the room, but we have Jason. He's kind of giving me that look that we need to wind it down. And so, first off, thanks to Jim and Pam and Dr. Paul for making this show a possibility and stuff. And have a great week. Be safe. Wear your masks. And I guess next week it'll be the Wednesday, what is it? What's today? Today's the 13th, the 20th. So we'll be getting a new president. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Goodbye. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Yes, thank
Bye-bye.
you, and thank you for having me.